going to quickly bring on our final performer, featured performer of the evening. She is a Oxford and Cambridge educated neuroscientist, an award-winning science communicator, host of the Story Collider right here at Caveat, and president of Stellate Communications by day. When she's not talking about science, she plays flute in a couple of rock bands, one of which is called Pavlov's Dogs. And she is also a long-distance open water swimmer. Please welcome a great entertainer, a great humanitarian, and as you can tell from her bio, someone who's clearly cooler than all of us, Paula Croxson.
Such dramatic music. I don't know how to follow any of those because although I play the flute in a rock band, I don't sing in a rock band. But we'll see how we go. I feel at home here because I was a nerd as a child. I wasn't just a nerd in the sense that I worked hard. I also was a nerd in the sense that all of my hobbies were really weird. So I was into synchronized swimming and playing the recorder and being in wind bands. And so I didn't have a lot of friends. But there was one advantage of being a nerd, and that was that my hard working led me to get an offer from Cambridge University. Thank you, yeah. I actually didn't know what that was. I didn't come from a family of university goers, but they told me it was a good thing to do, and I went there. And when I went there, I discovered that everybody else was a nerd too. And I'd found my people, except I hadn't, because they were all so confident. They really knew what they were doing, and I still didn't, but I pretended. And I'd also discovered that all of my nerdy hobbies and more were available to me. So I signed up for orchestra, and I signed up to play Gilbert and Sullivan, and I signed up for water polo, and I did all of these fantastic, amazing things that were not doing my work. And I went on field trips with a guy who only had one CD in his car that was a Bell and Sebastian CD. But I loved them, and I had a computer that was so this was 1998. I had a computer that was so crap that I could either write an essay on it, or I could download one song from Napster. Those were my choices, and guess what I chose? That's right, I chose to download one song from Napster at a time, listen to it on loop for a couple of months, and then switch it up. And so you're kind of seeing where this is going. I had a lab partner. Her name was Gemma. She was a remarkable person, very intelligent. She was a national level high jumper, and she didn't do any work. So we would start the lab, and she would say, let's go for lunch. So we go to the pub for lunch, and we wouldn't come back. Because she didn't care, and neither did I, because I was suddenly finding my feet. I discovered alcohol, I discovered going out, I discovered nightclubs. One thing I discovered at the end of my first year at Cambridge was that when I sat down in my exams and I looked at my quantitative biology paper, I didn't know the answers to any of the questions. In fact, I didn't really even know what the questions were saying. Could have been in any language. And I wasn't, therefore, very surprised when a couple of weeks later I got a letter from my tutor telling me that I had a disciplinary meeting. And I didn't know much about Cambridge when I went there, but one thing I knew, because they told us repeatedly, was if you fail at Cambridge, you're done. There's no redos, there's no taking the year again, there's nothing, you're just out. And so I had my heart in my mouth when I went to this meeting with my tutor, which was made worse by the fact that he had this sort of wood-paneled hallway going to his office, and he made me sit there for a long time waiting for my meeting. He always smoked a pipe, and he left the door cracked open, so pipe smoke was just kind of wafting out of there. And as I was sitting there, humming Bell and Sebastian in my head, my current Napster download, I could hear all the excuses that people were giving him for why they had done really badly this year. Some of them were good excuses, and some of them were really bad excuses. Like one person said they were distressed because they closed the bar for a week following somebody vomiting in the Rose Garden. And I was like, oh shit, what's my excuse? And as I was thinking, I got called in, and my tutor, this like sort of white-haired guy puffing on his pipe, takes a big puff of his pipe, and he says, well, you didn't fail. You came really close. So what do you have to say for yourself? And I couldn't think of an excuse. In fact, I didn't have an excuse. It was my fault. I was the one that followed Gemma around to the pub. And so I was like, I don't have an excuse. I took way too many extracurriculars. I didn't apply myself. I didn't tell him about the drinking, but he knew. I think he was drinking at the time, actually. So I was like, I know I can do better. And honestly, guys, I did not know that I could do better. Gemma actually did really well that year. Lots of people did. I wasn't sure that I had it in me, but I decided to apply myself. And so I deleted that one Napster song from my computer. And the following year, I wrote actual essays. I know! And when I sat down at the end of the year to write my exam, I knew the answers to some of the questions. Thank you! So in honor of that, but also a little of my nerdy background, I've chosen this song by Belle and Sebastian to delight to you all, I hope. All right, let's go.
Yeah, let's do it.
You can dance if you want to. Mile and a half on a bus takes a long time. The order of all prison food takes a long time to pass you by. Day upon day of this wandering gets you down. Nobody gives you a chance or a dollar in this old town. You can keep clapping as well if you like. Hovering silence from you is a giveaway. Squalor and smoke's not your style. I don't like your place, this better go. That was wrong. Then I compare notes with your older sister. I am a lazy get, she is as pure as the cold dripping snow. What did you learn from your time in the solitary cell of your mind? There was noise and who shot you from anything good. I mean your prison food. Calling my life with the chaos of trouble, 'cause anything's better than posh isolation. I miss the bus. You were laid on your back with the boy with the Arab strap. With the boy from the Arab strap. Something to speak of the way you were feeling. To crowds that assemble, do you ever feel you've gone too far? Everyone suffers in silence at birth. The man who drives minicabs down in all conciliation man. With his love fade affair, with his racist clientele. Central location for you is a must as you stagger about, making free with your lewd and lascivious boasts. We all know your stuff cause we've all seen you dancing. We all know your heart cause we've all seen you drinking from noon until noon again. You're the boy with the filthy laugh. You're the boy with the Arab strap. He takes a back seat as a cigarette catches and sets off the smoke alarm. What do you make of the cool set in London? You're constantly updating your hit parade of your 10 biggest wanks. She's a waitress and she's got style.
Yes. Amazing. So good. All right. Thank you, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you. That is our show.